Oh, hey there, and welcome to the Ope three-way episode 39. And boy, ain't it fine. Rather, boys, Donnie and Pierce. Fellas, how you feeling? You feeling fine? I
That
hope.
beer didn't crack.
That one?
No?
No, I was too busy talking on that one, Pierce. Sorry, but I didn't hear any crack like you usually have. Like it was just like a
Uh, a little, damn.
yeah,
Maybe I
yeah.
gotta put it like right up to my mic here. I gotta make some investments in tech anyhow, but
What do you guys
lesson
got?
learned.
What are you guys drinking?
Mm.
Leinenkugel's
Well,
Liney Lodge Lime.
Okay.
oh, that's the good one. Me sitting here, I'm doing a little bit of the old Guitar City Gold out of Ray's Grain Brewery down the road there in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Dope.
Donnie, the
Quite delicious.
Liney's Lime is pretty much the Wisconsin Modelo.
Yeah.
You probably
Oh,
heard
you're
It
you're
that.
really
fully
is.
you're fully on the Modelo train or the Wisconsin adjacent Modelo train, eh?
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I was never really a big cerveza guy, but after having them in Vegas, they were quite good.
Yo, they
So
go down easy on hot days, let me tell you.
oh yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, we're gonna
we're
have
having
plenty of
the
those coming
opposite
up
here.
here.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Okay, so unfortunately, a little bit of change of plans today. Pierce, you want to fill our viewers in before we carry on?
So unfortunately, Najae could not make the episode today. He's going to join us next week instead, where we're going to be reviewing Battleground.
Hell yeah.
And so we're just going to run it with the old Ope three-way, the original three boys. So Najae, we love you. Have fun at LFG tonight with what you're doing. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Otherwise, follow us on all our social media. You know what it is: X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
What?
AOL,
What?
MySpace,
What?
Tumblr,
What?
Etsy.
What? Reddit? What?
Maybe not
Blue
all of
sky.
those.
What?
Maybe not all of those, but the first few, I would say, you can find us there. So check out our
That's
stuff.
safe bet.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not 2011 and we're not emo guys. We don't have a Tumblr.
yeah, but we might
Not
have an
anymore.
Etsy. You'll have to find out.
Well, on that note, Donnie, could you please? Got quite a fun on this day today. 2000,
Mm.
WWF presented Judgment Day from Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky. The main event, Triple H defeated The Rock in a 60-minute Iron Man match, 6-5, with Shawn Michaels as special guest to regain the WWF Championship that he lost at Backlash. This match is kind of infamous because of the ending. The final fall was a DQ when The Undertaker, making his return, and for the first time ever, making his appearance and entrance as the American Badass, attacked
Oh,
Triple H.
yeah.
So it's 25 years of
Mm.
the American Badass, boys.
Hell yeah.
It's a number.
Rolling,
Yep.
rolling, rolling, rolling.
Jeez, time flies.
Was that when he showed up in the denim tuxedo?
Yes.
Ah,
Canadian. The
yes.
I believe
Canadian
that's called a
That's
Canadian
yeah.
tuxedo.
Oh God, how could I forget? There's one.
How dare you?
I've already got this off on a really bad foot.
Misappropriate. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't call it an American tuxedo with that kind of
Well, right
bravado.
on the American Badass. What else are you supposed to call it? You know,
Still a Canadian
how you gonna put
tuxedo.
a Canadian tuxedo on an American Badass? It seems kind of like a little juxtaposed, don't you think?
Nah,
I mean, maybe just me.
he just knows what it's like to be Canadian, and I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, no, don't misappropriate our thing. It's our thing, just like cheese
Okay,
curds.
fair enough. Okay,
So we'll jump ahead one
now,
year.
mm,
Oh, God.
they're better without the gravy. Just so you know.
Yeah, they're better without deep frying too.
I
Mm,
don't know about that one. But anyway, 2001, in one of the greatest and also most infamous Raw matches of all time, Chris Jericho and Redacted defeated the two-man power trip, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, to win the tag team titles. This is the match where Triple H tore his quad and then finished the match, including taking a Walls of Jericho while on the announce table.
mm.
That That injury would keep him out of action until January 2002.
Damn.
Definitely
Taking
check
the
out that
walls,
match.
taking the walls of Jericho with a torn quad can't be comfortable.
No, not at all.
Jesus.
Came back with a big pop though, from the crowd though, not his quad. But
Woof.
No, that other
one of the biggest
quad popped
pops in
about
Triple
5
H's
years
career.
later.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jeez.
But we'll
But
jump ahead 5 years later to Judgment Day 2006 in Phoenix, Arizona. Paul London and Brian Kendrick would start their historic WWE Tag Title reign by defeating Eminem. Paul London and Brian Kendrick are one of my favorite teams ever. They were just so fun to watch. They're kind of like Fraxium light. They walk so Fraxium could run.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I was about to say that. It's like we kind of have a team like that now in Fraxium where it's just like they just don't have bad matches. It's fun, entertaining, high flying, fast as hell. Yeah.
well, and in that era too, it was very surprising to see Lundrick get the longevity in the run that they did too, especially considering all their competition. I mean, they were always
20 days or something. They went a
they're
long time.
about
The sizable
yeah.
reign for a
Not
tag
sizable
team.
team.
Yeah, well. Oh man, I didn't have this side. Come on, man. I need to
There it
have that
is.
open. It doesn't.
Gotta be quick
Discord
on the
needs to
draw.
have my soundboard so that it doesn't block your guys' faces. Whatever.
That's fair. That's fair. But
We'll work out the kinks.
the King of the Ring tournament in 2006 concluded at this pay-per-view where Booker T would defeat Bobby Lashley to win King of the Ring and become King Booker.
Booker.
Mm.
And in the main event, Rey Mysterio would retain the World Heavyweight Championship against JBL. That feud sucked. Rey Mysterio lost every single week and then just beat him at the pay-per-view. World title reign sucks. That's unfair.
I mean, that's basically
Yeah.
Shinsuke Nakamura circa 2024, right?
I mean,
Or-
I feel like face booking back in that era was kind of like if you had a face getting their ass kicked every other week, then you probably could assume that the big payoff was coming at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but as your
It-
world champion on the second biggest brand you have, he should not be losing every week just because he's small. That's the reason that he lost.
Oh, sure. But I mean, that was part of Rey Mysterio's whole appeal too. Like his whole character arc through, I mean, besides, being like Eddie's avatar after he had passed was like being the underdog, even being world champion, even being WWE champion for the brief time that he was. It was like, no one can believe it. Oh my God, Rey Mysterio surpassing the odds yet again. And I don't
That
know, like
WWE
Rey is.
Championship was John Cena's first heel turn, but that's a different podcast.
I mean,
Brandon, I got a little ROH history for you.
about
2011,
time.
Sinclair Broadcasting purchased ROH on this day.
Yeah. And 2011 was not a bad year for ROH. Honestly, Sinclair made ROH accessible to a lot of people, including myself, who weren't getting HD net prior when you had the guys like Punk and Aries and Tyler Black, Seth Rollins roaming around. I still got to catch the Briscoes. I still got to catch War Machine in their infancy. Jay Lethal's fucking amazing world title run. All that stuff was made accessible through the Sinclair purchase.
It's one of the biggest things that ever happened to ROH. So I figured
Oh,
it was
yeah.
worth talking about, but not too long because you would probably take up the rest of the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I got a little side project I'm cooking up here for in the next couple months, so that'll be its own thing. But we'll carry on.
And then finally, in 2017, Backlash takes place in Chicago in one of the most surprising WWE Championship wins of all time, probably the most surprising. Jinder Mahal would defeat Randy Orton.
Hell yeah.
I loved it. Big ups for Jinder.
Yeah, we do not hinder
I was
the
a-
gender on this podcast.
You can't hinder him, but it was still very surprising because he was.
It was.
6 weeks prior.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't know. I kind of figured it like kind of a JBL type run. I mean, JBL wasn't exactly like WWE Championship material when he was running with Farouk either. I don't think people like had it on their bingo card that he was going to have, up to that point, the longest WWE Championship reign in SmackDown history, let alone a single WWE Championship reign. But it's all about presentation, right? Like he has all the tools, does Jinder, did JBL, but just tweak like one little thing or two. I mean, granted, he also had the tour of India that was coming up shortly thereafter, right? But I mean, I thought
The reason
Jinder deserved a fair shake.
he
I
deserved
thought
a
he
fair
deserved a
shake.
fair shake.
He should have not been just catapulted in the main event after being a jobber for 9 months prior. They went straight from him losing every single match to WWE champ. It
Hell
was.
yeah.
I get it. Donnie is Canadian.
Donnie agrees. Donnie likes this post.
All right, we got quite a bit of wrestling to go over for this weekend, boys. What are we starting with? Saturday night's main event?
Yes, we are starting with Saturday night's main event, which, as I pull up my scorecard here, will be in Tampa, Florida at the Youngling Center. Is that how I pronounce that correctly? Youngling? Yingling?
Yingling.
Yeah,
Very, very good.
All right. The Yingling
You
Center,
remember
Tampa,
when we
Florida.
met? It was drinking them like water.
Yes, yes. It doesn't look like a word that's pronounced Yingling, though. That's why I said it.
That's fair.
Nevertheless, Tampa, Florida, Yingling Center, this Saturday on the Cock. And then if you're not in the States, you can watch it on YouTube live. 4 shows on the card, or 4 matches, not 4 shows. Blah.
4 full shows on the card. That's incredible.
No, we're saving that for the next one that we do when there's 78 matches. But 4 matches on the card. Let's start with Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a steel cage match.
I think this is kind of the biggest toss-up on the card. I really don't know. I'm leaning Drew, just because I feel like Drew's probably going to get more of a world title run or be a world title challenger in the summer months. But I think it could be a toss-up, and the steel cage definitely helps with that. So,
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the rumor, right? McIntyre is lining up for another big old push. I also read something that Damian Priest has been kind of dealing with some aches and pains too. So, I mean, given what they've been putting each other through for the last month, doesn't surprise me whatsoever. That being said, I mean, technically with their matches with each other, I think they're 1-1 if you count Clash at the Castle, Mania. Well, I mean, if you don't have to go back to count 40, I guess. But
Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Or the Rumble,
or
Damian, besides Mania, has had Drew's number.
And in this case, I feel like, with both things considered, if the rumors are to be believed, with, Damian on the down and Drew on the up, I'd have to think that they're probably going to get Drew in this one. I would predict Drew winning this match.
On my side, Drew won at WrestleMania, which was also a gimmick match. It was the only gimmick match on the card. So that makes me think Damian Priest is going to win this one, because for Drew to win a street fight and win a steel cage match, it's a little strange, I think. But that's why I'll go with Damian on this one.
That's fair.
Next up, not for any sort of championship, we have John Cena versus R-Truth.
And even if it was for the championship, he's still a year off, just so you know, Brandon.
Oh, I'm aware. No, I've been keeping score.
John Cena wins.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see him losing until he actually loses the belt, quite frankly.
Can someone interfere to give R-Truth the win?
Why would they?
Or Cody Rhodes?
Cody probably, if Cody shows up. I mean, the rumor for Money in the Bank, which is apparently Cody and somebody versus Cena and fucking Travis Scott. Fiend.
We get to hear Fiend again.
Money in the Fiend.
Marta's gonna love that. Hearing Fiend.
I think me and Marta are in agreement that we've heard that enough for the rest of our lives, and then the live after that.
Actually, as a matter of
Fairly,
fact, I'm going to
Seth,
remotely connect to our speaker right now.
fairly positive I heard her groaning and complaining in the background too.
Yeah, she was. She was. She was.
Shout out to Marta.
Excellent.
Hi, Marta.
Thank you for your tolerance, Marta.
Oh, I'm playing it on my phone right now. There we go.
Oh God, I can hear it.
Yeah, link it up, baby.
I'm gonna fucking copyright strike our podcast so we can take it down.
Yeah, I forgot about that part, but all good. Music is off, Marta. We don't want to get copyright
Oh, it
stricken.
is. Ah, you get it.
All right, so yeah, I would see Bad Bunny probably would be the logical one there, I guess, if he's got some time on the
Sure.
calendar.
I mean, if they're gonna bring in celebs, I guess Bad Bunny I'm fine with because he's probably the best like pure celebrity wrestler that's ever been.
Yep.
So
Yep. All right, well,
that's a true celebrity, not a YouTube celebrity or something like that.
yeah, I think John Cena wins here too, though I could see some scenario where like he gets screwed, which leads to R-Truth getting the pin since it's not for the championship. But we'll
You never
see.
know.
Next up is a tag match: CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker.
So I got Rollins and Breaker. Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh no, go ahead.
I got Rollins and Breaker. One of the things in my notes that I put is with interference from a new member causing maybe an NXT call up, maybe a shocking defection from somebody. I really don't think Sammy is going to defect. He very much could, but I doubt it at this point. Maybe an NXT call up. Maybe it's Battleground Sunday, right?
Yep.
Maybe we see Ethan Page finally get the call up. I think he's more than ready. Maybe we see Trick Williams get the call up before.
Ethan Page has a match next week for the North American Championship.
You never know.
I don't think that would happen.
Seems like with the call-ups, they're giving them a little bit of time on the main roster before they fully call them up. And they kind of split time. So, I don't know. I feel like Ethan Page would kind of fit that group kind of well.
He could. So. It's just, it would be weird to have him interfere and then just put him on a championship show or like a championship match on NXT next week.
That's fair.
If there was actually, I think if there was any interference, Sami Zayn turning is certainly more likely than CM Punk turning. Not that I think Sammy would either. I do think Seth and Braun probably need to win this just to further legitimize that pair. But
yeah,
Brandon?
I think Sammy is the third man. And they could build it where Sammy, like Seth, had harbored this grudge against Punk for a long time, like Punk and Rollins, Sammy and Punk, they go their ways back too, or at least, his doppelganger affiliate, El Generico, whom's, spirit lives on through him. God rest his luchador soul.
Well, he's not dead. He's just retired at the orphanage.
Oh, is that what happened? Well, it's hard to say. Some of those Mexican orphanages I hear can be kind of like skeezy.
He retired to run an orphanage, and Sami Zayn was one of those orphans.
Yes,
it's a known story, man.
Yeah,
that's a very hairy orphan. Damn. But I mean, if Sammy gets his reasons for aligning with Seth, which I could see, if Sammy's aligned to Witch the Rumble, which I mean, let's be frank, like probably is, and Seth is likely to win the World Championship this year, leading up to WrestleMania, I think that could very easily be a program for 42. So that's kind of where my mind goes with that. But yeah, I mean, it could be a number of different things Ethan Page could be a good third man too. My mind is tossed around like, between Waller and Theory, one of those guys needs some livening, right? So you could chuck one of them in there.
That story's going to go on forever.
Yeah, it's not like it already hasn't been forever, mind
We'll be
you,
on
but
episode 339 of the Ope three-way, and we'll be talking about will Grayson Waller and Austin Theory break up or not.
God, I hope not.
And we'll be talking about how Austin Theory has not been WWE champion or main evented at WrestleMania as well.
Yeah,
But did you hear?
certainly not breaking
Did
the
you?
17 times reign of John Cena.
But
Yeah,
did
he
you
got
hear the
weird.
chants though? Did you hear the chants on Monday Night Boys? He's catching fire. It starts now. It started Monday, but it's continuing now as
This
we
is what I
speak.
Moving
this is what
on.
I think about that.
You like that? I told you.
That's
Channeling
about
Kirk
No,
Cousins.
no, you
You
screwed it
like
up. You
that?
hit the wrong button. You hit the wrong button. You applauded. That's what your reply is now. You are now an Austin Theory mark,
Yeah,
just like Brandon.
that's it.
no, it was a golf
That's the
clap.
way.
There's a difference.
That's the way.
Moving on.
Ah,
Likely to be the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso defends against Logan Paul.
I'm gonna pick the guy who's not a bum, Jey Uso. It's gonna be a fun match, I think. Jay is gonna have a good first real title match against. I mean, his first title defense against Rollins is great. I think this is gonna be the first like definitive win for his title. And yeah, yeet.
Brandon.
unfortunately, I don't see it going any which way but one. I mean, Logan Paul is going to get another showcase out of this. Um, he makes showcases out of himself, regardless of whether you want to see it or not. But this is, like you said, Pierce, I think going to be the first definitive win in Jey Uso's World Championship reign. Likely the last, if we all get what we're wishing for out in Phoenix, Arizona. But
That all of us are wishing for, or one of us is wishing for.
I mean,
Gunther's
secretly,
getting
some of
buried in
y'all are
that
wishing.
desert.
Some of y'all are wishing for that secretly. I understand
You
y'all got
spoke
to
it
put on
into
faces.
existence. Gunther's getting buried in the desert.
I spoke nothing of the sort. I don't know where this comes from.
You actively said that he was buried, and then you had me and Donnie explaining to you
Sure,
what a burial was for 5 minutes. We can clip that and put it out on socials if you want, Brandon.
I'm sure you could. It's there. That being said, I am expecting Gunther to walk out of Phoenix with the World Heavyweight Championship because we need a true champion carrying this belt through the
Okay,
summer.
well, we're talking about Saturday night's main event right now, so I think Jey Uso
We are.
retains. Are
He
we
will.
are we getting a women's match on the card? Probably from SmackDown.
I don't think so because they ran Nia versus Tiffy last week. Maybe they run a U.S. title match, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be the 4 matches.
Okay.
I would
Yeah,
like a
because
women's match.
there's no women's match on the card, so there probably should be.
Yeah, I would agree there should be, but I mean, it seems like for these TV show specials, it's 4 matches max.
No,
So,
that's not true at all. The first one was 6 and the second one was 5.
oh
So
wow.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I got my face.
All right, that covers Saturday night's main event. We'll recap that next week. Next up, we have AEW Double or Nothing, also coming from the desert in Phoenix, Arizona. So I wonder who's going to get buried there to
hey,
set up the plot for Gunther later. Yeah, they're performing out in the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. First time it is not in Vegas, which, quite frankly, being in Vegas on Memorial Day long weekend is so stupid because everything is so fucking expensive that weekend in Vegas that it just WWE intentionally priced out a lot of their fan base from WrestleMania this year by being in Vegas, but
At Easter weekend, and like
yeah,
there's
and
a
all the
whole.
other stuff. But AEW just unintentionally priced a lot of their fans out by being in Vegas on one of the biggest travel long weekends of the year. So I
To
think
be
it's
fair, for the first couple, it was the gimmick, Double or Nothing. When hold no one to fold 'em. Whereas the
sure, but
best
they could have had
safe
it
again.
not on the long weekend. They could have had it
Yeah,
on a
that's fair.
Canadian long weekend instead, which is always the weekend before. But, anyways,
The
we
more
got
you know.
we have Victoria Day. That was for me last Monday. But anyways, we got 6 matches on the card. Currently, I thought you said 7 when we were talking about on the pre little
Oh,
bit.
they haven't announced it, but there's going to be the Anarchy in the arena,
Oh, right. Yeah, that's not
and
officially on
and
the.
and they're showing that the women are going to be in it this year, which is going to be sick. So
Mhm.
All right, so we've got for the 6 that are on the card right now. We'll start with Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet in a stretcher match.
I don't know why this match is on the card, but Ricochet is probably going to win.
Neither do I.
Probably. Probably is pretty generous.
It'll be fun. I mean, Mark Briscoe in a plunder match. Ricochet is really coming in his own. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a fine match, and Mark Briscoe will leave on a stretcher.
Yeah,
I
I
I
concur with that.
I think Mark Briscoe's going to win this. I think
Ooh,
Ricochet leaving on a stretcher probably gets the fans going a little bit more. I don't think Mark Briscoe's really won a big match either since he's been in
not for a
AEW.
long time.
So I think they throw him a bone here, and it doesn't hurt Ricochet to lose this match, I don't think, because he'll just whine about it in other ways on social media. I think Mark
Mm.
Briscoe makes sense to win here.
Fair enough.
Next, we have in just a tag match FTR with Stokely versus Daniel Garcia
Mm.
and Nigel McGuinness.
Hell of a pairing. I'm glad Stokely Hathaway is back on my TV. Daniel Garcia has been putting in good work on the mic for this feud. I expect Nigel to take the pin, and he gets quote unquote hospitalized by FTR.
That sounds pretty plausible. And unfortunately, I mean, it's Nigel too. Like, if he's taking these falls, I'm sure he's agreeing to it. It sucks to see a guy of his stature, kind of, at least he's getting in the ring. That's what I'll say about it without getting too long winded. But FTR is going to start building momentum. To keep it short and sweet, FTR has got to start building momentum back towards the tag titles and make those more relevant again. So, that's where I see this going.
Yeah, FTR wins, further develops their character work that we saw back in what was the show where they turned on Cope? That was Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's more of that. For the AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Tony Storm defends against Mina Shirakawa. Bleh.
This could be the return of Mariah May. I think she is gone, but if they do bring her back, this match would probably be best for it. That being said, I think it's going to be a very good showcase for Mina for the people who haven't seen her. Which, if you're an AEW fan, you've probably seen Mina quite a bit. She's been featured with Timeless Tony and Mariah May before, but timeless forever. So
Yeah, stands to reason. The H Cup Angel is not going to come out on top in this one. That being said, I mean, she's very, very marketable. This is a great showcase for her to show what she's about as like a potential long-term member of the AEW roster. And if Mariah is going to come back at any point in time, it has to be in this show. It has to be in this match. Otherwise, we can pretty much kiss her goodbye as she fulfills her future endeavors over in WWE land, for my opinion. So,
Yeah, now or never for sure on the Mariah May front. Though, on the other side, do we really want to have another Timeless Tony Storm versus Mariah May match?
I would think they'd be going towards the Mina versus Mariah. Like maybe Mariah cost Mina, and Tony's just like, what the fuck? But I get what you're saying. I think they capped the feud perfectly, and they had honestly a perfect feud. So I like I said, I think she's going to WWE. I think that's where she wants to be, and she's gonna make a bag from it from her 2 years in AEW where they just told a perfect story with her.
Yep. Yeah. Tony Storm wins. I guess. Like, I don't really want Toni Storm's reign here to go forever. She's had the title multiple times for a considerable amount of time. We'll get into that more in a little bit, I guess.
She
Mhm.
realistically, she's the greatest AEW's women's champion of all time and the greatest AEW women's star of all time. So
mm,
She can make contention for greatest general champion of all time as well, like all around. For as much as she's put into her character work and as much work as she's put into elevating her championship and the
certainly better
division
than
in general.
certainly better than the champions we have now, but we don't gonna get into that.
her world
Um,
champion.
Next up is the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, versus the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara.
They hurt people.
Why is this match on the card?
They hurt people.
No,
You know what's
not so much on that side, but like, why is Dustin Rhodes getting a title match in 2025?
Well, they
would
did
it
a title
behoove you?
eliminator. So, and him and Sammy are tag team champs for ROH, I think. So
They are. And Dustin is also a 6-man tag champion, I believe, still with the Von Erich boys in ROH. So he's technically already a double champion.
So he's got two worthless titles. Okay, great. And now we're
Yeah,
throwing
I'm
him in
surprised.
for another one.
they hurt
I'm
people. It's all.
surprised you don't get too much more promotion based on a champ versus champ match. But bees what it
Uh,
bees.
well, one is the B League and one is like the Q League. So,
Hmm,
yeah, Hurt Syndicate wins.
yeah. Yep.
Probably
Uh,
Dustin's getting
with
hurt.
help from new team member MJF.
yes.
That seems accurate. Yeah, Dustin's getting hurt real bad.
In the final of the Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament, where the winner earns an AEW Women's World Championship match at All In, Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Moné.
I think
Who
this will
could
be
it
a very
possibly
entertaining
be?
match. But if they're doing this whole belt collector thing with Monet, makes sense. She wins. I think it'll be a very good match. I would love to see Jamie win. Jamie Hayter is great, but the biggest match they could do at All In is Tony Storm versus Monet. So they're gonna go for the money, or the Monet, I should say.
Monet. Yeah, I for the sake of all in, I see Monet being in that match, and there's already whispers and talks and pictures all around of Monet and Storm in a match in a marquee. So that'll be what that'll be. I gotta put my fantasy booker hat of Monet and Athena to the side for a bit. But I mean, this is the
I mean,
match leading in.
it was never in the forefront. Let's be honest.
Well, not maybe
Um,
not in the forefront, but
It was not in the
wouldn't
back
have
front.
hurt.
It
Wouldn't have
was.
hurt nothing at all.
it was
You
out
know,
back.
God, God forbid, the longest reigning champion in ROH history ought to get some exposure with a star the caliber of Mercedes Monet.
Yeah, because
It
God forbid.
once again, the
means
ROH
nothing.
titles mean something in 2025, right?
Well, that's the idea, anyways. That's the hope. But
Yeah,
alas,
Mercedes wins because booking Mercedes versus Tony makes a lot more sense than, well, no. Let me rewind that. Booking Mercedes versus Tony is a lot easier to book than Jamie versus Tony, even though Jamie, to my knowledge, has still not got a title match after having to forfeit the title due to
No,
injury.
so she lost the title. She lost the title to Tony, and that was right before the timeless stuff started, and then she was out for like a year and a half. So there's story to be built there, but I think they're gonna go towards the greatest TBS champion or whatever versus the greatest women's champion. I'm not saying she is, but that's probably what they're gonna market it as. Don't give me those eyes, Don.
Fucking low bar here, my God.
yeah.
No,
I mean,
no,
it's like
no shade to Jade Cargill because that reign was more interesting, quite frankly.
I would agree.
Maybe not better matches, but definitely just like more interesting, like actual character
Because the
development.
story was, I mean, Monet's undefeated as well, but Jade was just a destroyer.
A monster. If you listen to Booker T on LFG, a monster. You guys don't watch that, but anyways.
Yeah, yeah, there
Uh,
were none like her for sure.
Yeah. But shout out
um,
BJ. Should have won.
and then the
My
last
boy.
match that's listed on the card officially right now, the Men's Owen Hart Foundation Cup Tournament Final. What a fucking mouthful that is. Where the winner gets an AEW World Championship match at All In. Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay.
This is tough. Because Hangman's doing some of the best character work in his career, which is saying something for Hangman because his whole thing is character work. Osprey's Osprey. He's one of the best in the world, if not the best. I think this is probably going to be match of the night, and I think Osprey is going to win it, and then hopefully win the world title at All In.
So before we get to you, Brandon, I'm going to bring up a devil's advocate to this. My question is, who is it more palatable to have lose to John Moxley? Because neither of these guys are named Darby Allin.
If that's the case, then it's Hangman 100%.
And that's who my pick
Osprey,
is. I pick Hangman to win this match.
Osprey, I think it would hurt him quite a bit if he lost to Moxley. And again, current Moxley sucks, but like if this was 2 years ago Moxley, it would be pretty palatable. But current Moxley is just rough to watch.
Just dog's ass, quite frankly.
Brandon, what's your pick?
I'm about I'm about Hangman, but not in the sense that I necessarily think it's more palatable that he lose to Mox. Like Osprey's one of those where like he could win the world championship at any time, right? He doesn't necessarily need the Owen do it. He could, he doesn't need to be at this year's All In, perhaps. Like Hangman, I feel like has been winding down a road, and I feel like it's about time he gets some absolution with everything that he's gone through. The face turn he had was kind of like wonky, weird little questions coming up with that, but like God forbid we jump into Hangman Swerve again, and we possibly backtrack on a lot of this shit that we've been developing over the last year or so. Um, I don't know. I think Hangman winning the world championship leads to a feud with. If we're gonna run back Hangman Swerve, I feel like you need to do it with Hangman as world champ. Personally, like I said, Osprey can win it at any damn time.
Yeah,
And he's got plenty of time.
yeah. My logic here is that Darby Allin has reached the summit of Mount Everest. So
Whoa. Mm.
He
he
is alive.
he was always the person that was initially booked slash scheduled slash destined seemingly to beat John Moxley. To now actually have that attainable in the relatively near future, I don't know why you would go to Will Ospreay from a storytelling perspective instead.
No, it's completely understandable.
So that's why I would wait to pull the trigger on Will winning, put Hangman in that match, have him lose to Moxley due to bullshit, and then Darby Allin's return at All In gets us him winning at probably All Out in Toronto.
Or isn't there a Forbidden Door in between? Could win at Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door is usually a
Mm-hmm.
mixed card match, though. Like Moxley wouldn't be defending it against another AEW wrestler, would he?
Well, last year they did Osprey Swerve, so
No, I guess Tony Khan just books whatever he wants now.
yeah, kind of his job.
Just now? Oh.
So the Anarchy in the Arena matches, what are those looking to be? Because I haven't been watching much weekly television.
The Ops, Swerve, and Willow versus the
Death
Young
Riders.
Buck Riders in Arena. So If that's the route they go, I'm going Ops and Swerve.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Hmm.
Doesn't really make sense for the Death Riders to win this match too.
No, not whatsoever.
Okay. And then I'm sure we'll have another 17 matches added this week. And you'll hear about the 9-hour show next week.
Can't wait.
That takes us to
NXT.
NXT Battleground,
NXT.
which will also be at the Yingling Center on Sunday, where there is currently 6 matches as well on the card. And we are starting with a 6-man tag team match of Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs versus the Cullings, Brooks Jensen, Nico Vance, and Sean Spears.
I like how they set up Briggs with Hank and Tank. I think that's a good setup. But I don't know. You're about to say Pierce, you don't know.
I don't know much about this. I'll go with the guys that are the champions right now and go with the beefy boys.
I find it hard to argue against that, frankly. Yes, Team Beef all the way.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Josh Briggs turn heel again and go back to aligning with Brooks Jensen, and the Culling wins. And then you get a tag match for the titles after that.
Sounds good.
It makes sense. I don't. It's what it is, I suppose. If that be the case, I don't know what else. They ain't got nothing huge planned for Briggs or for Brooks.
Yeah, that's
But
the thing with both of them, right? Like their most notable work in their NXT tenure was as a tag team together.
sure.
You have an opportunity
But I
to
mean, you could see.
put it on the other side of the coin now as a heel tag team instead.
Yeah, I suppose.
Their standalone work hasn't been enough, I don't think, to say they need to be on the main roster, and that is the goal of NXT television, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're getting to a point if you're in NXT for like what 3 years, then you're kind of nearing the chopping block. 4 years is graduation, and if you don't meet the standard, then
Yeah, so that's
then
my
you throw.
logic there. But yeah, so I'll call for the Culling to win this one. Plus, the Culling never win, so sure. Um, for the NXT Women's North American Championship, Sol Ruka defends against Kalani Jordan.
I think Soul's going to win. I don't think it's time for her to lose. I think they're going to be teeing up the Zarya feud soon. I don't necessarily think Zarya needs to turn heel for that, but whenever they do it, I think it's just going to be, two teammates kind of imploding. I don't think they need either to turn heel, but I think Soul's going to win.
Brandon?
Yeah, kind of like Sol and Kalani is two teammates that are kind of. I mean, they've been apart for a little bit now, right? And Kalani, I think we can say, I haven't been following as closely weekly, but I'm pretty sure she's in the heel encampment now. Yeah.
She is. She's a heel.
So, yeah, I mean, if anything, I could see Soul bringing a good match out of Kalani in this one. And right, Soul is definitely a great North American champion. And they're definitely going to be working towards setting something up for Zarya, right? Like, they can't stay great as they are as a tag team, surprisingly great. And you've seen how it is with women's tag teams in the WWE. They don't last more than a cup of coffee these days. Most of them don't, anyways. So, and when you have a match like Zarya versus Sol Ruka, that's a potential, especially like to elevate, both women and the North American Championship at the same time. I don't see how you look past that. So, I think Sol retains. I think that leads to Zarya,
Yep.
and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, Sol Ruka retains here. I don't think Kalani Jordan needs a second reign this early.
No.
Next up is Tony D'Angelo versus Channing Stacks Lorenzo.
Bada bing, bada
I wish you,
boom.
I wish you could feel my hand gestures through the mic right now. Just let me
Italian.
tap Give the mic a little tapski.
I think Stax is going to win. You probably get the return of Luca and him turning heel. And I don't know what they'll do with Tony D after. Maybe he goes up to the main roster. I don't know if his character is really fit for the main
They're
roster.
gonna shove him in a trunk. They're gonna shove my boy Tony D into a trunk.
He's going to be swimming with the fishes.
It's gonna make me
Cement
sad,
shoes.
but
Gabagool.
that's how Tony D sent people off of NXT. That's how he's gonna get sent off of NXT. It's the full character arc. Tony
Yeah,
D
it's time
swimming with
for a
the
new
fishes
Don.
after this weekend. I expect Stax to win.
Time for a new Don. You know, not
Although
not like he'd be anything like you, Don. You know,
No,
can never
no.
be.
the
Can
Ope
never
three
beat the
way
OG.
has the Don.
The Don of the
The only
Islanders.
Don that matters.
Yes. But yeah, shout out Tony D. Hopefully he gets brought up to the main roster. I think the gimmick can work for a bit. As a standalone act, it might be a little bit tricky because like the family thing actually works pretty well for him, I think.
Mm.
But
I mean, his character is kind of tailor made for Netflix. So
yeah,
I think if he goes anywhere, goes to Raw.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Starts eating Gabagool, having some Italiano coffee, killing people probably.
Yeah, yeah, I can
Yeah,
see that.
maybe.
I almost just want to skip this match, but for
I
the
wonder
t-
what match this is.
for the TNA World Championship, Joe Hendry defends against Trick Williams.
The first time ever, boys.
Go
Probably
ahead,
not the last.
Brandon. Go ahead, Brandon. Say what you'd like to
No,
say.
it's great. I love this for pro wrestling. If you'd have told me fucking 15 years ago that we'd get a TNA world title match on any form of WWE programming, I'd have called you fucking crazy. But here we are. The landscape of pro wrestling's
Or you
fucking
call
amazing right
TNA broke.
Yeah,
now. Well, I mean, I wouldn't call them broke
Invasion
yet.
2.0.
They're working out new TV deals as we speak, from what I hear. No, thanks largely in part to this great partnership that they got. So hopefully it remains as such without, fears of procurement or what have
No,
you.
this partnership's actually been very good. I think, and it's
Very
I
good.
mhm.
way better thought out than, quite frankly, any of the other partnerships we've seen in this modern run of Forbidden Door. And that's not a shot at anyone else in particular, like even though I'm saying Forbidden Door, but like that TNA partnership with AEW was actually terrible,
Mhm.
and the partnership with New Japan and the others that they currently have now are fine, but like I don't think they've
This
really
is a true
made it
partnership.
feel like equal footing, more or less, right? So
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping that this leads to more like TNA engagement and interaction with even like the main roster, provided of course this gets big enough, right? I mean, they got a few years on this to go, so we'll see how it is. But for now, it's just fucking great to have a guy, especially a champion who represents the brand like Joe Hendry. And we can, I think we can pretty fairly surmise he's going to be WWE bound just as soon as his contract runs up, right? I think he's groomed into that, future role. But for now, I think he's doing great for TNA. Like he's recognizable well outside the company. He represents the belt in the company with pride. And I think, for a good first opponent for him to have defending the championship on a WWE PLE, Trick Williams, you can't really ask for too much better, in my opinion. Another guy who's probably bound to be made roster bound soon, right? I'd have to think.
yeah,
Um, he's been putting in his reps and his rounds over in TNA as well on Impact. Getting the feel for the audience over there as well. Um, that being said, I don't know how to go with this match. I feel it probably could go one of two ways, right? I'm not.
no,
I believe in
that's
Joe
how most
Hendry.
singles matches go. They either have one
Well,
person win or they have the other person win.
well,
Or nobody
thank you
wins.
for that.
Or nobody win. I guess it can go one of three ways, but
Ope-Eh three-way. No, I don't know. I don't know how it is. I feel like if Joe wins, like all continues as it's been, and it continues a long and strengthy reign, right? Strengthy for Christ's sake, a long
Strengthy.
and strong, long and strong.
Strengthy.
And Joe's bound to get the friction on.
Woof.
But I feel
I mean,
like
another
if
year,
Trick wins it too,
And you're
people have
like,
been wondering too. People have been wondering too, like who's going to be the first to cross the line or shoot across the bow, right? Like for an NXT championship to go to TNA or vice versa. I think Trick's got as good a shot as any to kick that off. I think he could win the TNA World Championship,
Pierce.
but
So what's your prediction?
Yeah, oh yeah, you didn't actually
j-
give a prediction.
I think Trick's got. I think it's 55-45 Trick personally.
Okay, Pierce.
I'm gonna take up a little less time and just say Trick Williams is winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
There you go.
Okay, I think Joe Hendry
Long as
retains.
you agree. Oh, that's fair.
It's a
That's good
toss
too.
up. Realistically, I mean, easily they could be like, no, we don't want to put this on a WWE guy, but I think to help both sides, Trick Williams winning is huge for both sides.
We'll see. For the NXT
Yeah,
Women's
Trick.
Championship, Stephanie Vaquer defends against Jordan Grace.
I got Vaquer winning. I think they could call either of these women up right away. I think Stephanie has said that she got the option to either go straight to the main roster or go to NXT. She chose NXT to kind of hone her craft and get better and help her promos in English and everything. So I think they're gonna keep the title on her for foreseeable future.
And she has the best manager in the business in Booker T. Ah, 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 ah,
Ah,
ah. Oh, yeah.
good
Yeah, he's
old
managing
Gunnar
something
T.
over there. I don't know what he's managing. I don't care to know, but we'll just say it's a good thing he's off camera. So,
Gunnar T.
Pooner T.
Can you dig that, suckers?
I don't want to.
Brandon?
I think Stephanie Vaquer wins this match. Like you said, either could go to main roster. Stephanie, I think, still has plenty of work left to do in NXT. It'd be kind of cheap if she were to go win the North American Championship, then the NXT Championship, then drop the North American Championship, and then shortly after that drop the NXT Championship. It would just be too much. I think she continues to build her reign and build her legacy in NXT. And I think we could probably see Stephanie before the end of the summer on the main roster, but again, she's still got work to do.
So here's the
So
thing:
we'll keep her.
with a couple of guys and potentially ladies already, like they kind of circumvented the draft with Julia and Roxanne, and probably because they didn't really have anything for them to do in NXT, so why keep them there? But for the men that might be transitioning over, and I kind of feel like it should be soon or it shouldn't be at all, right? Like if Trick goes and Tony D goes and Ethan Page goes, I was like, those are the three probably prime male candidates to make the jump. Stephanie would probably be the prime female candidate.
Or Jordan.
Yeah.
Or Jordan. I think either or could go. Uh, though Stephanie has got more television time. I know Jordan's been in the Rumble the last 2 years, but Stephanie was on the Raw after Mania, and she was on the following Raw too, I believe. After that, maybe
Yeah.
she wasn't, or she. I thought she was, yeah. But yeah, to me, this is like a coin flip because the loser probably ends up going to the main roster if there's a draft in the
Didn't they
month of
say when the
June.
draft was gonna be?
Sorry.
Did they give a date for the draft yet?
No, so I'm saying if it's in this like part of the year, if it's in June, um, I think the loser goes, and I think the loser would then be Stephanie Vaquer, and Jordan Grace wins the title.
The timeline right now is all fucked because they did such a late Mania.
True, and they've
So
rammed the shows with a bunch of PLEs around now too. So
it's it.
Right.
I was talking with the two Beards about this on their podcast. Shout out to the JPJ and Pluggo. there's a lot going on, and it's giving a bit of wrestling fatigue. And don't get me wrong, I still love wrestling. I always love wrestling, but if you put so many big shows and so many shows just in general so close together, you're just gonna be like, God damn, I'm tired. It's like when they did 7-hour WrestleManias. The
I
end of
want
it,
to
you're just
be
like, I don't care.
I want to be devil's advocate because like so many times after WrestleMania, it doesn't feel like anything matters. So I don't
Hmm.
necessarily mind that they're loading up more shows like Saturday Night's Main Event into or from Backlash to Saturday Night's Main Event to King of the Ring if there's a draft in there. I don't mind it so much because it gives me a reason to keep watching. Whereas a lot of the time post like a couple weeks after Mania, especially if there's not a draft or they do the draft relatively quickly, there's not a whole lot of reason to keep watching every week with it because there's not a lot of stuff happening. So I'll play the devil's advocate there, but there's nothing wrong with either answer,
Hmm.
I don't think.
Did you say you're the devil you know?
Sure.
Is this a carrying cross plug on the Ope
Boy,
three-way?
boy.
Get that guy on TV.
Yes, please.
Uh,
Possibly with a briefcase.
main event. Uh, Oba defends the NXT Championship versus Miles Bourne.
Who saw this one coming? Uh,
Oh,
I'm happy for Miles Bourne. Dude's great.
Hmm.
He's a
he's a
very nice
likable
man.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, is he deaf in one ear, or is he just completely deaf?
I don't
I
know.
know he I know he has some sort of disability with his
General
ears.
hearing impairment, I believe.
Partially deaf is how he's listed as on the old Wikipedia.
So
Yeah.
I mean, that's good for people with disabilities. They got somebody that can root for, and his promos about it have been great. That being said, he's does not have a finisher currently besides a drop kick and a roll up. And
Sometimes that's all
all
you need.
all respect to Miles, but it's gonna take a little bit more than that to beat Da Ruler.
Darula.
And
You would think
Oba
so.
is a fucking monster.
A monster. Which is
He's
gonna
Meat
just
A
Castle.
monster.
which is just gonna get another monster after him in Jasper Troy. Saw that this week on NXT.
Yeah.
Oh
Was he the
yeah.
LFD champion, correct?
Yes, he is the male winner of LFG.
BJ Ray robbed.
He didn't miss out on any belts, though, by the
Watch the
look of it.
show. I like BJ based on your stories about him from Vegas, but like if you watch the show,
I
you
I
wouldn't have
get
that
it,
opinion.
but at the same time, there's one of those dudes that's gonna be the most marketable after.
It's gonna be
And
Jasper Troy, man.
shout out BJ. I hope you're doing good, dude. Um,
Or it could also very well
but
be the women's winner that was Tyra May Steele because, being an Olympic gold medalist doesn't hurt, and especially when you don't have shady shit going on in the background. So,
you don't have Stevenson-itis.
yeah, so Tyra
Right.
could be a big winner on that too. It's not
But
spinning
I
her
think
at
so.
all.
yeah, Oba is gonna win. And it's gonna be hopefully it's a good match. I hope Miles gets to show up, show out. But Da Ruler by was his finisher, the fall from grace, the pop up
Yep.
last ride.
Yep.
So Da Ruler.
Yeah. I see and hope big things for all of NQCC. I think it's great that Miles is getting this shine. I mean, for like when you got guys like Tavion and obviously Charlie Dempsey being the son of Regal, around you, I feel like you kind of take a kind of a short little third place there amongst them too. But I think this will be a great chance for Miles to stand out. Um, It'll be shitty to see them split up at some point in the near future, considering Charlie's turning a little green whenever he's around Miles now with a case of that envy. But I mean, yeah, I could see Miles doing great things in the future. I'm glad he's getting this opportunity. And I love a guy who just is able to shit on himself and laugh about it too. So, he's got that going for him besides being baby Randy, obviously. But
All right, that's NXT Battleground, and we previewed 3 shows in exactly 1 hour as of now.
very impressive.
We're getting our times down, and these shorter episodes are quite nice. I think us being on Facecam probably helps with that. We'll have video soon-ish, hopefully. Maybe when we get to that 1 year point, we'll work on that. But
I mean,
you guys
hell,
never really
episode 40 is
said
right around the corner.
who was going to win, but I think we're all in agreement it's Oba.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair.
Okay.
1 hour, hey.
Yeah, that was exactly an hour when I called it. I couldn't turn down the opportunity to just call it when it was. But yeah, that's what we got.
You should be so proud of me.
Yeah,
You let me get a TNA plug in there too, and we somehow
yeah, and you
managed to
tried to
make
steal
it
an ROH plug on multiple occasions too.
Hey, but here we are.
So yeah, that's
Proud
the
of
show
us.
for this week. We'll be giving results for all of these next week. Najae should be on next week as well. Looking forward to talking to him about the results of Battleground and what comes next on the NXT side. Anything else you guys want to add?
I mean, I haven't seen many fucking weirdos online that we have to call out today, so
That's
I got
good.
nothing.
Brandon.
Maybe best not to call out the weirdos so much, because then I mean, for whatever little publicity they get, it's probably a little excessive. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well,
That
again,
being said, yeah, generally shame the weirdos, not to
just enjoy wrestling. Just enjoy wrestling.
Brandon, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I mean, I already got my Theory plugin, I got my TNA plugin, I got the ROH stuff that's coming in the future, but I'll spare you all that for right now. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a summer. I'm looking forward to it. Chit chatting with you boys, that's for dang sure.
Okay. Follow us again on all those social medias that we talked about. Maybe not Etsy or MySpace or SoundCloud, but all the other ones you can
Oh
find
no,
us
I'm
on.
making a MySpace tonight.
Hell yeah.
Xanga. I'm
Yeah.
gonna whip my
Google Plus
whip
is
my
coming back, boys.
Let's go.
whip my blog up right now.
Pierce, send us home.
Well, as always, thanks for stopping to the Ope 3-Way. Have a beer on us. See you next time. Have a good night.